My husband got into a car accident while on a road trip with his mistress. At the emergency room entrance, he grabbed my hand with all his might. If I don't make it, the inheritance must go to. I immediately cut him off, shouting, "Doctor, hurry and save him." Byro showed up at the hospital with a child, demanding inheritance from me. The law says illegitimate children have inheritance rights. I pointed at my husband, a vegetable with tubes everywhere. You said inheritance rights. Come back after my husband breathes his last. When the hospital called to tell me Li Haiyang had been in a car accident, I had just finished collecting a full set of evidence of his affair. Li Haiyang made $1 million a year. I was sick of the man, but I couldn't bear to part with his money. The hospital was my lifeline. I was happily preparing to pull the plug. Then, Byro, the mistress, blocked me at the hospital entrance, holding a chubby son. Your husband got seriously injured protecting us, his son and me. Aren't you going to step aside? I glanced at the child, who was the spitting image of Li Haiyang. I dashed towards the emergency room entrance. Li Haiyang was lying on a stretcher from the ambulance, about to be wheeled in for emergency surgery. He saw me running over and grabbed my hand. Barely breathing, he said, "If I don't make it, the inheritance must go to." I immediately cut him off, shouting, "Doctor, hurry and save him." Li Haiyang seemed desperate to say more. I snatched an oral oxygen mask from a nurse's hand and shoved it over his mouth. Li Haiyang, staring with lifeless eyes, was pushed into the operating room. An hour later, a nurse came out to ask about my decision regarding the rescue. The patient's brain has suffered severe damage. Even if he survives the critical period, there's a high possibility he'll become a vegetable. We will respect the family's wishes on whether to continue resuscitation. I pulled a pen from my bag. I strongly demand resuscitation. Where do I sign? The nurse added, the resuscitation cost is approximately 60,000. I cut her off. My family isn't short on money. Save him. The nurse looked at me with admiration and produced the critical condition notice for me to sign. Ultimately, Li Haiyang's life was saved. Thank goodness. I finally got a vegetable husband. Byro, acting as if she had every right, followed me to the ward with the child. Cut the small talk. The wealth Li Haiyang earned is half mine and my child's. I won't get into the details with you, just give me 5 million, and we'll call it even. I scoffed. I've been married to Li Haiyang for 10 years. Who the hell are you to open your mouth and demand money from me? Byro shoved the child in front of me. Smugly, she said, the law states that illegitimate children also have inheritance rights. I gave a cold laugh, pointing at my husband, the vegetable covered in tubes. You yourself said inheritance rights. Come back after my husband passes away. The next day, I showed up at the hospital in shabby clothes. I found the attending physician and started crying. Doctor, I really can't scrape together any more money. As long as my husband's life is saved, we don't need the restorative treatment medication. The doctor sighed softly. The neuronutritional drugs promote the patient's recovery. Your husband has a high chance of waking up. It would be a great pity to give up on treatment. I covered my face and squatted on the ground, sobbing uncontrollably. I'm so sorry to my husband, boo-hoo. I've sold everything I could at home, I really have no other way. Boo-hoo-hoo. The doctor sighed again, stopped trying to persuade me, and wrote down my request in the medical order. I tugged at the doctor's pants leg, asking piteously, Doctor, can we switch all the imported medicine to domestic? Otherwise, I can't even afford the hospitalization fees. The doctor nodded helpless. Sly. I thanked him profusely and walked out of the doctor's office. Immediately after, I went to find a nurse. Could you please switch me to a different room? I'm not picky about anything, as long as it's cheap. The nurse frowned and moved me to a small, dim ward. I put on a poor, pathetic act. Our family can't afford a private nurse. A shared room is fine. The nurse glanced at me dismissively and hummed in agreement. I looked at the mold stains on the wall and the worn-out bed. I was very satisfied. I threw my outer coat into the trash can. The doctor said Li Haiyang wouldn't die for at least a year or two. I needed to start figuring out how to transfer assets. My mother-in-law found out about Li Haiyang's car accident. She came to my place, crying a river of tears and snot. The only reason Li Haiyang dared to flaunt his mistress so openly was thanks to his mother. She bragged to everyone about how capable her son was, saying having multiple wives and concubines was a man's status symbol. Looking at her just disgusted me. Save your strength. If you really care about your son, go to the hospital and take care of him. My mother-in-law immediately stopped crying. How is my son now? I grabbed a handful of melon seeds. He's a vegetable. The doctor said he won't wake up. My mother-in-law immediately started wailing dramatically, screaming that she wouldn't live either. I had arranged for a real estate agent to sell the house. I didn't have time to chatter with her. My mother-in-law grabbed me, insisting I take her to the hospital to see her son. Walking into the dingy little ward, my mother-in-law glared at me, her eyes seemingly spitting fire. My son makes over $1 million a year, and you put him in a place like this? I shrugged. Your son's money all went to supporting women. This surgery fee? I had to borrow it from my own family. My mother-in-law trembled with rage. Bullshit! Don't try to fool me. Having a few women cost him his entire fortune? I opened my phone and showed her the evidence of Li Haiyang's philandering, drinking, and gambling. Mom, your son played quite the game. $1 million a year wasn't enough for the damage he caused. My mother-in-law was speechless. Then she turned to me, demanding, how did my son suddenly get into a car accident? It must be because you were making trouble all the time. I showed her the police report from the traffic department. You know by Roe, right? The one who came to your birthday party last time. Your son got hit and is half dead because he was protecting her. If you want revenge, go find her. My mother-in-law pounded the wall in anger. Haiyang, you're trying to kill your mother. A nurse came in and asked us to keep quiet. My mother-in-law grabbed the nurse's collar like a madwoman. When will my son wake up? Tell me, will my son ever wake up? The nurse was terrified and didn't know what to do. I pulled my mother-in-law aside and whispered to the nurse, ignore her. She has mental problems. The young nurse dashed away. The real estate agent was efficient. Within 3 days, they helped me sell the house. Of course they were efficient. It was a $3 million house sold for $1 million below market price. Fortunately, the buyer was my cousin, who secretly paid me an extra $800,000. Everyone was happy. My mother-in-law found out I sold the house. She brought my sister-in-law and blocked the door, not letting me move. My son isn't dead yet. How dare you sell the house? I said innocently, precisely because your son isn't dead, I sold the house to save his life. My mother-in-law glared, grinding her teeth. You'd save his life? Your son supports so many women, you probably want him to die quickly. Indeed, a woman understands a woman best. She spoke my mind. I shouted to the movers, don't move today. I need to go to the hospital to pull the plug on my husband. My mother-in-law almost coughed up blood in anger. You, ho! Dare you pull the plug? I'll fight you to the death. I was speechless. Mom, your son's money all went to playing with women. You won't let me sell the house, and you'll fight me to the death if I pull the plug. Fine then. You take care of your son. My sister-in-law's face fell when she heard this. Mom, let me tell you first, my share of your nest egg is still yours. Don't use it to treat my brother. My sister-in-law had been like the Monkey King reincarnated since she was a child. As long as it harmed her interests, she'd turn her back on family. My mother-in-law shoved her sister-in-law. Are you stupid? Half of your brother's house is mine. If I get it back, will you be short of your share? My sister-in-law's eyes darted around. Okay, then you go for it. If you can't get it back, hurry up and pull the plug on my brother. My mother-in-law almost fainted from anger. I laughed uncontrollably. With a sister like that, plus me, the nominal wife, Li Haiyang was doomed. I cleared my throat. The mortgage on this house was paid by me and your son together. Even if you go to court, your family won't have much claim. I pulled my sister-in-law aside. Bai Rou owns a mansion, which your brother bought outright. If we get it back, we'll split it equally. My sister-in-law's eyes lit up. Really? I nodded. You're smarter than Mom. I'll need your help. You definitely deserve a share. My sister-in-law was ecstatic and dragged her mother away with all her might. I pointed at the workers nearby. Start moving. My sister-in-law was a force of nature. The next day, she blocked Bai Rou at the building entrance. The house my brother bought belongs to me. You have 3 days to move out. Bai Rou used to butter up the mother and daughter to please Li Haiyang. Now that Li Haiyang was half dead, Bai Rou turned on them faster than flipping a book page. What the hell does the house your brother bought for me have to do with you? My sister-in-law immediately slapped Bai Rou. My brother isn't divorced yet. The house is ours. Bai Rou wasn't one to take a loss and went to claw my sister-in-law's face. You can forget about it. The house belongs to my son. My sister-in-law was clearly taken aback. What son? Bai Rou sneered dismissively. Your sister-in-law couldn't give him a child, so I did. My sister-in-law, always straightforward, spat forcefully. I don't care if you did or not. If you don't give the house back, I'll expose your scandal of seducing someone else's husband. The neighbors started pointing and whispering. Bai Rou's usual persona was that of an independent, sophisticated beauty. My sister-in-law's scene completely shattered Bai Rou's image. Bai Rou put on her sunglasses and tried to run. My sister-in-law was strong and clung desperately to her skirt, refusing to let go. Slut! Trying to run after seducing someone's husband. Bai Rou's miniskirt was pulled up to her waist. Her black thigh was completely exposed. Sounds of disapproval erupted from the crowd. Bai Rou, enraged and humiliated, grabbed my sister-in-law's hair and slapped her hard. My sister-in-law didn't back down, pushed Bai Rou to the ground, climbed on top, and started beating her. The two quickly became a wrestling mess, fighting fiercely. Neighbors surrounded them 3 layers deep, saying all sorts of nasty things. Some were even secretly recording videos with their phones. I watched with great relish from a viewing pavilion across the street. Soon after, Bai Rou's mother came out looking for Bai Rou, holding the child. I suddenly noticed the child had curly hair. My heart skipped a beat. I have curly hair too. At the hospital last time, Bai Rou had the child wrapped up tightly. I only saw the child's appearance clearly today. He actually didn't look exactly like Li Haiyang. Could it be? Connecting the dots from previous events, I suddenly understood. That bastard Li Haiyang had tricked me. My mother-in-law found out Li Haiyang had a son. Like a shot of adrenaline, she took Bai Rou to Li Haiyang's workplace and demanded workers' compensation. Li Haiyang was the company's deputy manager. When such a major scandal broke, everyone was eager to spread the news. Even the cleaning lady came out to watch the spectacle. Security guards tried to remove my mother-in-law and Bai Rou. As soon as a guard got close, Bai Rou screamed, "He's harassing me. The security guard is harassing me." My mother-in-law fell to the ground with a thump, clutching her chest and faking illness. The company executives couldn't handle it and asked me to come and mediate. After Li Haiyang's accident, the company had given me a one-time relief payment of 500,000, which was generous of them. Without a second thought, I rushed over. My mother-in-law was rolling on the floor in the general manager's office. 2 deputy managers and the office director pleaded endlessly, but my mother-in-law refused to get up. "If you don't classify my son's accident as a work injury, I'm not leaving today." Bai Rou was also crying softly. Our Haiyang had such a terrible accident, leaving us, a widow and orphan, helpless and alone. We're truly at our wits' end. "Oh, really? You've got some nerve." She was acting like the rightful wife because I wasn't showing my face. I walked in without a word and immediately slapped Bai Rou hard across the face twice. "You little bitch, seducing my husband and you have the audacity to come and cause trouble at his workplace? I'll tear you apart today." Bai Rou covered her face, crying nonstop with teary eyes. How could you hit me?" I went up and slapped her hard again. "Hitting you is the least I can do. If you hadn't instigated my husband to go on that road trip to Zishuangbana, would he have gotten into a car accident? You're playing the victim and trying to claim workers' compensation. Bai Ro gritted her teeth and yelled back at me. I didn't seduce Li Haiyang. He told me he was divorced, that's why I was with him. I sneered. Oh really? I still have the bedroom photos you sent me. What did you call me back then? Bai Ro's face changed color. I took out my phone, found the recording from that time, and turned on the speaker. Bai Ro's sharp voice came through. You old hag. Your husband has been sleeping with me for over half a year. If you don't agree to divorce, I'll sleep with your husband right in front of you. You bitch, your husband is lying naked next to me. Want to see? Did you see the photo? I'm lying naked on your bed right now. Your husband is having a great time. The room was silent. The executives exchanged glances. Every gaze held disgust. I forced a sarcastic smile. Still calling him our Haiyang? Bai Ro, turning an affair into something so high-class, you're truly one of a kind. Bai Ro's face flushed red, then pale. She was completely shut down. Seeing Bai Ro lose ground, my mother-in-law sprang up like a rocket. She yelled at me, you divorce my son right now. Whoever gives me a grandson is my daughter-in-law. This old woman, seeing her son wasn't recovering, was completely focused on getting a grandson. I nodded. Okay then. I'll go to court right now and sue Bai Ro to recover the marital assets, and then I'll divorce him. My mother-in-law charged at me, ready to butt me with her head. That house belongs to my grandson. If you dare to steal it, I'll fight you to the death. I dodged. My mother-in-law couldn't stop herself and hit the wall with a dull thud. I pretended to be scared and patted my chest. Please, executives, bear witness for me. Whether the old lady lives or dies is not my responsibility. My mother-in-law rolled her eyes and fainted. Since we had completely fallen out, I didn't hold back. I bought another house for 2 million that was actually worth 1 million. Of course, the house belonged to my friend. He privately returned 1 million to me. Adding that to the money from selling the previous house, I ended up with 1.8 million in cash. My mother-in-law and Bai Ro weren't idle either. They brought reporters from the local highest-rated family mediation show and blocked me at the company entrance. I had seen that show. It mainly mediated family disputes like property division and support issues live on air. Before I could react, the cameraman was filming right in my face. I gritted my teeth internally, forcing myself to maintain a composed and pleasant appearance. Some of the negative examples on that show were cursed out by the audience. A short, chubby female reporter introduced herself politely and enthusiastically, and the interview officially began. It was morning, peak time for employees to clock in. Within minutes, I saw several people I knew. Damn it! That was a low blow from Bai Ro. It seemed I wouldn't be able to save face today. I was ready to let it all hang out. Bai Ro had clearly also put in her best effort. She was supporting my mother-in-law, tears constantly welling up in her eyes. As if she had suffered immense grievance. The female reporter went straight to a sharp question. Ms. Jiang, we heard that you and your husband have been separated for many years and you have been unwilling to divorce, is that true? I smiled slightly. Not at all. My husband and I have always had a very good relationship. We even went on vacation to the beach last month. With Li Haiyang in his current state, I could say whatever I wanted. The reporter was taken aback, seeing I wasn't following the script. She then asked, your mother-in-law said you have been unable to have children, is that true? My mother-in-law quickly chimed in, it's true, it's true. This woman is a jinx, she's going to end the Li family line. The cameraman focused the camera on me. I shook my head vigorously. It's not that I can't have children, it's that my husband has low sperm count. You know how men are. They're most afraid of losing face in that area, so I just went along with whatever he said. My mother-in-law trembled as she cursed at me. You're lying. My son has nothing wrong with him. You barren hen, stop dragging my son's name through the mud. The female reporter frowned and looked at Bai Ro. Bai Ro's tears immediately fell. I didn't know he wasn't divorced before. Now the child is almost 1 year old, and I want to give him a proper identity so he can be recognized as part of the family. So, she wanted to force me to divorce Li Haiyang. Bai Rou wasn't completely brainless. If she registered her marriage with Li Haiyang, the house she had would become legitimate. On the day Li Haiyang passed away, she would also receive the company's compensation and funeral expenses. I gave a cold laugh and said loudly and clearly, "Excuse me, do your TV station's reporters also help mistresses pressure wives into divorce?" The female reporter's face changed slightly, and she quickly distanced herself. Ms. Bai came to our program seeking help. Our purpose here today is also to hope that you can reach a resolution. I smiled. How can we resolve it? By me willingly giving up my place to the mistress? The female reporter was momentarily speechless. Bai Rou stepped forward and said softly, "Haiyang is a vegetable now, your marriage is in name only. I want to ask you, could you please dissolve the marriage with Haiyang? Oh, you don't need to divide the marital property. I don't want anything." Beautiful. That statement was so effective. If I hadn't dug into her background, I might have agreed on impulse. The female reporter seized the opportunity to persuade me. "Ms. Jiang, you might find it hard to accept right now, and I understand completely. But the adult's mistakes shouldn't be borne by the child. Furthermore, since there's no property dispute involved, would you consider it?" Before I could speak, Ms. Zhao from AC. Counting walked to the entrance, then came back. She scanned the large group suspiciously and asked me, "Xiao Jiang, what's going on here?" I said directly, "My husband had a mistress, and she brought reporters from the TV station to pressure me to step aside." The female reporter quickly explained, "No, that's not." Ms. Zhao interrupted her. "A mistress breaking up a family is justified now? You're a media outlet, broadcasting content with twisted values just for clicks. Have you considered the consequences?" The female reporter quickly agreed. "You are absolutely right. We definitely won't encourage such bad behavior." I gave Ms. Zhao an admiring look. Then I squeezed out a few tears for the camera. "We still don't have funding for my husband's treatment. If you can help me raise donations, I'll agree to divorce." Boo-hoo-hoo. The female reporter was completely helpless. She waved at the cameraman. "Wrap it up." I wiped away my tears and walked into the entrance, arm in arm with Ms. Zhao. "Want to go for Japanese food tonight?" Ms. Zhao nodded. "Okay, that stuff doesn't make you fat." Bai Rou stomped her foot in anger at the entrance. I knew Bai Rou wouldn't just let it go. I fully charged Li Haiyang's phone. Every day, I kept an eye on Bai Rou's posts on her social media. Just as expected, Bai Rou posted looking for a nanny. I contacted a friend who runs a domestic helper agency. Bai Rou's nanny was quickly sorted out. Before long, I received the package the nanny sent me, my heart pounding with anxiety. I immediately sent it to a relevant institution for testing. The results were just as I had suspected. I transferred 50,000 to the nanny and gave her a few more instructions. Fate had been kind to me. The timing was perfect. I hired a well-known top-tier lawyer and filed a lawsuit in court. I demanded the return of the mansion Li Haiyang had gifted to Bai Rou. Bai Rou had clearly received expert advice. Almost simultaneously, she also filed a lawsuit against Li Haiyang and me. Her claim was demanding that we cover the child's living expenses, education fees, medical costs, and so on. My case was heard first. I don't know what method my mother-in-law used. She convinced my sister-in-law to commit perjury with her. Mother and daughter both testified in Bai Rou's favor, claiming she was wronged. Bai Rou crossed her arms and spouted nonsense. Li Haiyang tricked me into thinking he was single, and later he raped me. The money he gave me to buy the house was compensation for my emotional distress. My sister-in-law, wearing the gold bracelet Bai Rou gave her, also spoke with conviction. My brother took me out to eat with Bai Rou. Bai Rou didn't know anything. She was indeed tricked by my brother. My lawyer asked Bai Rou, "You said Li Haiyang raped you, what was the date?" Bai Rou was well prepared and answered immediately, "Valentine's Day the year before last." I smiled internally and handed a USB drive to the lawyer. Li Haiyang had a nasty habit. He often brought women home when I wasn't there. I knew our marriage wouldn't last long. To preserve evidence of Li Haiyang's infidelity, I had installed pinhole cameras in various locations around the house. The day Bai Rou mentioned? What a coincidence! I was traveling in Tibet. Li Haiyang brought Bai Rou to my house and they stayed for over half a month straight. The judge opened the files on the USB drive in court. Bai Rou, with my wedding photo in the background, was lying on my bed, looking as seductive as could be. Bai Rou's lawyer's face went pale. My lawyer then presented a series of other compelling evidence. The chain of evidence was complete and undeniable. I struck while the iron was hot and added another claim. I want to sue Li Haiyang for bigamy. My mother-in-law scoffed, "My son is already a vegetable. What difference does it make if he's convicted of bigamy?" I showed her some successful treatment plans for vegetative patients from a foreign hospital. Mom, Li Haiyang and I were husband and wife after all. I was planning to use the money from selling the house to take him abroad for treatment. A spark of hope flashed in my mother-in-law's eyes. I snatched the plans back with a whoosh. I just thought about it. Let's put the treatment aside for now and sue him for bigamy first. My mother-in-law immediately panicked, not knowing what to do. She urgently yelled to the judge, "What I said just now doesn't count. I made it all up." The judge sternly warned her, "Witness, perjury seriously interferes with judicial fairness and undermines the authority of the law. Once verified, you could face criminal penalties." My mother-in-law looked like she was about to kneel before the judge. "I'll tell the truth, I'll tell the truth. Bai Rou was my son's mistress, and the house was bought with my son's money. All that talk about rape and emotional distress is nonsense. All the evidence, both testimonial and physical, was in place." The court rendered the verdict immediately. Li Haiyang's act of gifting was deemed invalid, and Bai Rou was ordered to return the full amount. Bai Rou played hardball and refused to return it. I filed for enforced execution. Bai Rou suffered a crushing defeat. Bai Rou posted the court's judgment on her social media. She wrote a mournful little essay. A few days later, two of Li Haiyang's cronies came to Bai Rou's defense. "Sister-in-law, brother Haiyang is so miserable now. At least he left behind a son. Just give Bai Rou and her child a break." I smiled. "Do you mean Bai Rou will continue to live off our money, wear gold and silver, and live in a mansion? Otherwise, she can't survive?" That one named Daqiang was talking without consequence. "Sister-in-law, putting aside your grievances, just take pity on the child." I slammed the table. "My husband slept with outside women for several years and didn't give me a penny for household LD expenses. You want me to put aside my grievances? Do you take me for a saint?" Daqiang still tried to persuade me. "Sister-in-law, you can't let the child suffer with Bai Rou." I was furious and poked his face with my finger. "You have the nerve to talk about the child with me? I feel pity for the one I gave birth to. Why the hell should I care about the one the mistress had?" Another one named Xiaojian said something even more contemptible than his name. "Sister-in-law, you can't have children, but you can't let brother Haiyang's family line end." I picked up the teacup and splashed tea on his face. "Who says I can't have children? Li Haiyang was riddled with STDs, how can you blame me for him not having an heir?" Daqiang quickly tried to smooth things over. "Sister-in-law, put it this way, for brother Haiyang's sake, you can't go to extremes. Give Bai Rou a break, and maybe if brother Haiyang wakes up someday, he'll remember what you did for him." I gave a sarcastic laugh. "Your brother Haiyang is half dead, I'm not counting on him remembering my kindness. As for you two," I had long heard about the messed up things going on in their circle. "Which of you two can't bear to see Bai Rou suffer? Chip in $1 million to help her out, then you can feel righteous about sleeping with her later." My calling them out made Daqiang's face look bad. "Sister-in-law, if you don't fight Bai Rou for the house, she won't sue for child support. Isn't it better for you both to be done with it?" Better my ass. How much child support can there be? Can it compare to my multi-million mansion? I put my hands on my hips and yelled, "Stop pretending to be righteous with me. Whoever pays for Li Haiyang's treatment, I'll immediately give the mansion to Bai Rou. If you're not putting up money, stop bullshitting." Xiaojian's face fell. Sister-in-law, if you won't listen, fine, but your words are too harsh. I stood up with a whoosh and opened the door wide. Get out of here now, or I'll say something even worse. They slunk away shamefully after I chewed them out. A few days later, Bai Ro's child support case went to court. Bai Ro came prepared. Not only did she invite Li Haiyang's cronies to back her up, she also invited the female reporter from the TV station to observe the proceedings. The court listed Bai Ro's various outrageous demands, from diapers to elite training programs, totaling nearly 2 million. Bai Ro knew she would definitely win this lawsuit. A smug, arrogant smile always played on her lips. I didn't hire a lawyer for this hearing. I was enough to handle this fool Bai Ro on my own. When it was time for my defense, I smiled and stated that I had no objection to Bai Ro's demands. The onlookers were all surprised. Da Qiang blurted out a curse. The judge looked stern and ordered silence in the gallery. He asked me again. I replied that I had no objection. Bai Ro's eyes sparkled with cunning and excitement. She elegantly adjusted the scarf around her neck. She was ready to leave the court. Seeing that the time was right, I cleared my throat. I have no objection to the amount of child support, but I request a paternity test for the child. The judge agreed, stating my request was reasonable. Bai Ro looked calm, without a hint of panic. I smiled slightly and added, not just a paternity test for Li Haiyang, but also a paternity test for Bai Ro. A murmur went through the gallery. Bai Ro's face instantly turned pale. She cried out urgently, I object. The lawsuit in this case is against Li Haiyang. Why should I have to take a paternity test? I knew she would react this way. I said word for word, if the child is Bai Ro's and Li Haiyang's, I'll pay the child support. If the child is Li Haiyang's, but the child's mother is someone else, Bai Ro has no right to demand child support from me. If the child isn't Li Haiyang's at all, demanding child support from me is even more ridiculous. Therefore, I asked clearly, Bai Ro, without a paternity test, how can I know which scenario this is? Bai Ro visibly panicked. She adamantly refused to agree to a paternity test. The people in the gallery, seeing through the scheme, were silent. The judge finally spoke. The defendant's request is deemed reasonable and accepted. After the paternity test results are available, the trial will be adjourned and reconvened on a later date. Bai Ro sank into her chair. My mood was excellent. I bought a Riverview apartment using my parents' names. I hired the best design company and started renovations. My life was finally taking a turn for the better. Just at this crucial moment, Li Haiyang woke up. I rushed to the hospital. Stepping into the first-floor lobby, I saw my mother-in-law and Bai Ro waiting for the elevator. I turned and ran towards the stairwell, climbing to the 5th floor in one go. Panting, I found the attending physician. Doctor, has my husband completely woken up? The doctor shook his head. The patient has a large-scale infection. He doesn't have much time left. Say whatever you need to say quickly. I patted my chest. That scared me to death. I almost thought that bastard had recovered. As soon as I stepped into the ward, my mother-in-law and Bai Ro followed. Li Haiyang stared pleadingly at Bai Ro, opening his mouth as if to speak. I threw myself into Li Haiyang's arms, grabbing his collar and sobbing uncontrollably. Husband, you're finally awake. Boo-hoo. Thank goodness. Boo-hoo-hoo. Li Haiyang stretched out a dry, weak hand, trying to push me away. I grabbed his hand and held it tightly in mine. Husband, I know you'll miss me. Boo-hoo. I'll miss you too. Boo-hoo. My mother-in-law pushed her way over and also started wailing dramatically. Haiyang! Mom finally has hope. Without you to support me, Mom. I immediately cut off my mother-in-law. Husband, boo-hoo. Mom has been so worried about you. So much of her hair has turned white. Boo-hoo-hoo. Bai Ro, behind me, was screaming in a high-pitched voice, desperate. Haiyang has something to say. Hurry up and move aside. I pretended not to hear. I lay half my body on Li Haiyang's chest and just cried. Li Haiyang seemed to say something in a gasp. It was immediately drowned out by mine and my mother-in-law's crying. Bai Ro was frantic and desperately tried to pull me up. I arched my back and resisted with all my might. Li Haiyang was pressed so hard he was rolling his eyes. My mother-in-law didn't know Li Haiyang didn't have much time left. She was still rambling and crying complaints. She cried, and I cried, hoarsely and relentlessly, without a break. My main goal was to look like I was going crazy with joy. Li Haiyang made a few weak gurgling sounds in his throat. His eyes were full of anxiety and longing. In desperation, Bai Ro shouted at the doctors and nurses outside the door. "The patient needs to make a will. Hurry up and get them out of here." I was hoping to stir up trouble, so I immediately got up and kicked Bai Ro. "I'm the patient's wife. If he has a will, he'll tell me." "What the hell are you?" Bai Ro got up and lunged at Li Haiyang. Haiyang, I know you have something to tell me. Hurry and say it." I grabbed her and pulled her back. "My husband has nothing to say to you. Get out of here." Bai Ro held on to Li Haiyang tightly, wouldn't let go. I turned my head and yelled at the people outside the door, "Are your hospital security guards asleep? If you don't get this madwoman out of here, and something happens to the patient, we'll see you in court." The nurse quickly came over to pull Bai Ro out. Bai Ro struggled with the nurse like a madwoman. She was still shouting, "Haiyang, say it quickly. The mansion you bought me is all mine. Say it quickly. So many people here can be my witnesses. Say it now. Damn it. Trying that game with me. Then let's all play dirty." I leaned down and whispered in Li Haiyang's ear, "Bai Ro has gotten together with Daqiang and Xiaojian again. Daqiang's wife caught the dog and bitch in bed together, and they're getting a divorce these past few days." Li Haiyang's clouded eyes bulged out. I added fuel to the fire. "I don't know if Bai Ro has gone crazy or what, she doesn't even want her son anymore, she keeps saying she wants to send him to an orphanage." Li Haiyang's body trembled slightly. He looked at Bai Ro with venom. Bai Ro was shamelessly waiting for Li Haiyang to support her. Suddenly catching sight of Li Haiyang's gaze, she was startled. Then, like a madwoman, she started strangling Li Haiyang. "You bastard! You didn't even leave me a will. I was with you for 3 years, and I got nothing." I quickly dodged, letting her strangle him for real. My mother-in-law frantically tried to pry Bai Ro's hands off. Without paying attention, she stepped on the ventilator tube. Li Haiyang's already weak breathing immediately became rapid. The nurse noticed something was wrong. She anxiously told them to hurry and move away. My mother-in-law was locked in a struggle with Bai Ro and didn't listen at all. In less than a minute, the monitor's waveform turned into a straight line. Li Haiyang was completely gone. Li Haiyang's funeral was kept simple. I didn't even buy an urn. I casually grabbed a tea box from home, dumped out the tea leaves, and it was just enough. At the funeral home, when my mother-in-law saw me carrying a bright red teakin to hold the ashes, she clutched her chest and almost fainted. The funeral home staff tried hard to control their expressions and instructed me on putting the ashes into the tea can. It was a bit small after all. I looked at the remaining ashes on the tray and waved my hand. "Don't need the rest." My mother-in-law screamed, "Who says you don't need it? Not a single bit can be left." Helplessly, I pulled out a plastic bag I'd used for groceries from my bag. "Okay then, put the rest in here." My mother-in-law was about to go crazy with anger. I beat a hasty retreat. Now that things had come to this, the child couldn't stay with Bai Ro. The nanny found an opportunity to bring the child out. After some thought, I took the paternity test results and registered it with the authorities. Then, I also sent the original to the court. A few days later, the court rendered its verdict. The paternity test results confirmed that Li Haiyang and I were the child's biological parents. Bai Ro's lawsuit demanding child support was completely dismissed. Bai Ro knew she would lose the case. But she never could have imagined that the child was actually mine and Li Haiyang's. I had actually been completely unaware of it myself. Back then, after Li Haiyang was diagnosed with low sperm count, he discussed doing IVF with me. I retrieved eggs several times and underwent 2 procedures, but neither was successful. Later, when Li Haiyang got rich and was partying every night, I gave up the idea of having a child. I never expected Li Haiyang would actually use my eggs and find a surrogate. If I hadn't noticed the child had the curly hair that runs in my family, I would never have suspected that. Bai Rou completely broke down. All her assets were seized by court order. Years of her youth spent with that disgusting pig, and she was left with nothing. I, on the other hand, was doing quite well. MYS band passed away early, I didn't lose a penny of the property, and I even gained a chubby son. Bai Rou's mansion sold for 3 million. According to the law, half of it belonged to me. The other half was to be split among me, the child, and my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law lost a son but gained a grandson, which gave her some solace. Despite my sister-in-law's loud protests, she gave up her inheritance rights. I secretly transferred 500,000 to my mother-in-law's card. That's just how I am. If you fight me tooth and nail, I'll fight you back. If you don't fight for it, I'll give you what you deserve. I moved into the new house with my chubby son. The newly renovated nursery was incredibly beautiful. The child's personality and temper are very much like mine. Looking at my bank account balance and my lovely child, my life was finally complete. End.